Yeah.
Street legend, old school New York dude.
I grew up in New York in 1971, I guess. We moved from East Harlem to Lower East Side. But I still went to school in East Harlem, so I had to take the subway. And when I was about 10, 11, the subways in the streets in New York started getting covered with signatures. Well, I started writing on subways first, and then I started going to painting. But I also, along the way, got into art, and I started going to museums and galleries and looking at art too. I just watched it develop, and it became something that I was in awe of, and I just fell in love with it, and I wanted to paint. I just wanted to create, I wanted to paint. I tried to stretch a sheet when I was a little kid. I knew you had to gesso it, but I didn't know what gesso was really. But I tried to paint, I painted a sheet and tried to paint on top of it, and it didn't really work. But I was like 12 or something, so that was my very first brush with trying to paint on something other than a wall. But so I kind of considered it, they're two different things. There was the frame painting and the wall painting, and then there was canvas. As I got older and as an adult, I've been influenced by more traditional artists that show in galleries and museums. And somewhere in my mind, those two mesh, and what comes out on my studio work is that, like, you know, where my influences from the standardized art world and my influences from the underground art world. My process is a little different than most because I use a lot of spontaneity and freestyle. I might pick a couple things. I might pick an outline color, like the final outline is going to be this, but that could change too. But if I have more of this color, then that's going to be the fill-in color, you know, and then I'll get to some other colors after that. So it depends on what I have too, like, you know, because when you're using this much paint, it costs a lot of money. It takes me months sometimes to just build up enough paint to even start one of these projects. In 1983, I was in a show with Patty Astor in New York. Patty Astor was an art dealer, and she owned a gallery called the Fun Gallery. And I was in a show with her in 1983, and that was my first show, and that was the first canvas I ever painted. It was for her show.
I am the senior curator here at the 111 Minute Gallery. Well, as far as gallery work goes, it holds on to a much more old school aesthetic as far as when you know, the convergence of street and gallery work really started to happen in New York in the, you know, early mid 80s. And I mean, it's definitely grown beyond that, but you know, he combines a lot of classical street elements with a lot of more classical 20th century painting techniques as well, and infuses them quite solidly. He's done some great collaborative efforts in the Tenderloin, on Turk Street, right off of Market, with Apex and Shore Boogie, which is one of the better known murals in the city.
I just kind of like to paint what I like to look at. I also think wherever you are, you can always use more color, so.
If I see something beautiful, I want to wear it.
It's almost like Alice in Wonderland meets like graph art. The depth, the colors, the angles. It's like every time I look into it, it almost reminds me of emotion and thought, how it just streams, like stream of consciousness.
It's all rhythm, like it keeps moving, you keep looking at it, it keeps drawing you in, and you really feel the rhythm. Alice in Wonderland, like Willy Wonka colors, mash up like Stravinsky with like, you know.
Ideally, I just like to paint it, you know, and hopefully somebody else can enjoy it. If the work is right to me, I don't need to explain it. You know, I don't need, like, whatever it means to you, that's what it means, that's what it means.
The name, it was from a model rocket, and one of the rockets was called the Vulcan rocket, and a friend of mine said, hey, that's pretty cool, that's a good name. And I was like, you think so? I think that's a mad ugly name. And he said, well, you can have it if you want, you can try it. And so I started doing the outlines around it, and I thought, wow, this is an ugly name, but if I can make this look beautiful, that'd be something.